Hi, guys. All right, I'm just going to hop right in. So, hi, I'm Hailee. I am an Amica pro educator and platform artist based in Denver, Colorado. Today, we are learning part of our Brooklyn Bride class. This is our Twisted Chignon. I love this. I'm so inspired by this for bridal season. It's such a fun and edgy take on a classic bridal look. So I can't wait to show you guys. So first, before I jump in, actually, I want to tell you a little bit about Amica. So for those of you who are not familiar with our brand, here's a little bit more about us. So Amica means friend in the language Esperanto and is a symbol of our belief in the power of community and the beauty of diversity. Amica is a friend to hairstylists, to her, him, them, and you. And we are also a friend to Mother Earth. So that means we are cruelty-free. We're formulated without sulfates, parabens, phthalates, MIT, MCIT, DEA, synthetic colors, aluminum starch. We have none of the bad stuff, only the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean our signature ingredient is the sea buckthorn. And the sea buckthorn is really a miracle ingredient. It grows in Siberia and parts of the Himalayas. It's protecting itself against some of nature's harshest conditions, and it has tons of antioxidants and nutrients, so it's really a miracle ingredient for scalp and hair. And then our signature fragrance, which if you guys are familiar with the Amica products, you know about the fragrance. It is it is an intoxicating blend of warm vanilla, fresh citrus, and spicy sweet clover. Another way that we are friend to Mother Earth is through our partnership with TerraCycle. And TerraCycle is a social enterprise that is dedicated to recycling the unrecyclable. So now you can send all of our packaging to TerraCycle, including pumps and triggers, and they can give it new life instead of it ending up in landfills or oceans. So if you want to recycle your Amica products, you can go right to TerraCycle.com, download a free shipping label, and send them back. We are straight out of Brooklyn, where creativity and culture are a way of life. And I'm so excited because I think that this style is really a way to highlight that Brooklyn edge. So without further ado, let's get started. And again, my name is Hailee. I'm known on Instagram as Hailee K Hair. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to connect with me on Instagram. I would love to see the styles that you create. And like I said, just hop in my DMs and we can connect that way. So cool, here we go. I'm going to be starting with the chameleon. Okay, so this is one of our tools. It's my favorite tool, and we're using two different sizes today. So the first being the 25 millimeter, and that's going to curl the back, and then the 19 millimeter, and that's what we'll use to curl the front, and I'll show you the difference there. But let me just show you. This is the chameleon kit, so you can interchange any of the 5 barrels, which I think is so fun. All right, so our mannequin here is split into 4 sections. So the back is one whole section, and that is going to be from the crown to behind the ear on both sides. Okay, so we have the whole entire back. And this is the section that I left out to show you guys. And then in the front, we have our 3 sections. So we have our mohawk and then the 2 sides. Okay. So starting in the back, I'm going to use my chameleon. And this is the 25 millimeter attachment. Okay. I'm going to prep the hair with the shield. And the shield is technically an anti-humidity spray, but it is also a heat protectant up to 450 degrees. So let's go ahead and spray that on the hair, comb her through. And this product is so awesome because what it does is it's heat activated. So when you go to so you can see. When you spray it on the hair and then you apply heat, it forms a barrier around each hair strand, or a shield around each hair strand, that is going to protect it against humidity as well as environmental damage. So it's going to help to prolong the life of your style. So the way that we do the curls in the back is we're going to do them in rows, and each row will alternate a different direction. So the bottom row is all going to the left, then the next row is all going to go to the right, the next row all to the left, so on and so forth. So this last row that I have here, all of these curls here are going to the right. So I'm going to do my last row, all of them going to the left. All right. So take my section of hair, and we're going to be flat wrapping the hair. So what that means is this is going to be a classic curl. So I am flat wrapping the hair, meaning I'm not twisting the hair at all. It's laying flat around the barrel all the way down. I'm going to leave the ends out just for a moment. So you can see here all my ends are out. Once this is hot enough, I'll do those ends just for a second, and then we can pop that out, and we have our classic curl just like that. All right. So I'll take my next section. And throughout the entirety of this style, we're going to just be sectioning with our fingers. So our sections are super organic because this is a more edgy kind of take on a classic bridal look. We just really want that organic feel, and we'll get that by taking those organic sections. All right, so leaving my ends out and then just curling the ends right at the last second and popping that right out. All right, so these are all going to the left. Awesome. And our last section we have right here. I'm going to flat wrap this around. And can you guys see what I mean by flat wrapping? So I'm not twisting this hair. It's just laying completely flat against the entirety of the barrel. All right, and then my ends. And we'll drop it out. Cool. So now we have the entire back curl. So now what I'm going to do is switch out the chameleon. So I'm going to turn it off and just unlock it here. Okay, and then I can just go ahead and pop that right off. I'm just holding onto the stand so I don't burn myself, but it's super, super easy. And then I'll pop on my 19 millimeter, and that is for the front section. All right, so turning that on, I'm gonna put it at 360. And while that is heating up, I'll go ahead and show you guys what I did in the front. So in the front, we have, come sit with you. In the front, we have 3 sections. So the way that these are going to be curled is alternating up and down. So this first curl is curled up. The barrel is going to be horizontal against the head, curled up. The next section is going to be curled down. The next section is going to be curled up, so on and so forth. And we'll do the same thing on both the left and the right, but the middle is the mohawk is going to be curled a little bit differently. So I'll go ahead and show you the sides, and then we can head into the top. So this is already preheated. We love the chameleon. She heats up so fast. So I'm gonna take some of the shield again, our anti-humidity spray, our heat protectant. Okay, comb that through. Now the bottom one came up, the next one was curled down, the next curled up, and this will be curled down. So I'm going to over direct just a little bit so we can get some volume in here. And the reason we're doing it this way is because all of this is going to be swept back, and we really want that beautiful texture and all of that volume in through here. So when we pull this back, you're going to see that alternating curl pattern. It's going to be gorgeous. So this one went up, this one's going to go down. So we're going to over direct the hair. And again, we're flat wrapping. And by flat wrap, I mean all of the hair is laying flat against the barrel. All right, leaving my ends out. And on the other side, I'll turn her so you guys can see a little bit more what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna tap this and see when it's hot. Then I will let those ends touch the curl, and we can go ahead and drop that out. So you see how when I over directed it, I got that little kind of wave there. So that's when we pull all of this back, it's gonna have all this really fun, gorgeous texture. All right, so heading on to the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and stay here with the shield. Putting that heat protectant in there. And like I said, the shield is awesome because it really is going to prolong the life of your style. So even if you were just doing regular curls, if we weren't putting them up into an updo, it's just a really great product to protect against any of the environmental damage that would harm your style. All right, so again, using super organic section. So I'm just gonna use my finger here to take that first section out. And I want to do a little bit smaller. So I want it to be, let me show you. So we're using the 19 millimeter. So I don't want this section to be much bigger than that. It's okay if it's a little bit less or more, but we don't want it to be too crazy. Okay, so now taking my chameleon with the 19 millimeter, I'm gonna have the point, the tip facing the back of the head. Okay, and I'm flat wrapping this around the barrel. So you see how I'm adjusting my fingers to wrap this around so that I'm not getting any twists in there. All right. And then we can pull that off. Okay. So now, taking our next section, I'm going first so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, so that one went down. This one is going to go up. So over directing, flat wrapping around with the tip pointing back. Just move that up a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to feel this. Once that's hot enough, I'll get those ends on. Oops. There we are. And let it go. All right, so the bottom one went down, the next one went up. This one is going to go down. All right, so I'm really trying to pull from the base too, so any of those little baby hairs are getting wrapped around the chameleon too. So starting right in close and flat wrapping this around, making sure it's flat all the way. We don't have any with twists in it. Does anyone have any questions so far? We have our lovely Tasha in the chat. So if you guys have any questions that she can answer, she is there for your support. But also, if you have any questions as we go, drop them in there and I'll try and get to them. Let me know, Tasha, can you hear me okay too? Just want to make sure. And our last section. So that one went down. This one is going to go up. So flat wrapping around the barrel. Yes, we can. Awesome. Thanks, Tasha. Perfect. And that's our last one. Feel if it's hot enough. Perfect. And we'll just slide that right off the barrel. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys. So in the front, you can see how they went alternating directions. So when this gets pulled back eventually, we're going to have really, really gorgeous texture in through there. Okay, so the Mohawk section gets done a little bit differently. And we're still going to utilize that alternating technique, but instead this time we're going to be working in a quadrant. So there will be 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and they'll each go opposite ways. All right, so I'm going to separate that into 2. Again, using our fingers to section, super organic, and clip that out of the way. Now, we have the left side and the right side, and we have the front and the back. Okay, so it's that quadrant. So this one came down, so I'll do this one up. And again, taking our 19mm barrel. First, I'm going to spray with some of the shield. Comb that through. Awesome. And then we can go in with our barrel, and this will go up. Okay, so going up, flat wrapping around the barrel. And I keep saying flat wrap, and sometimes I even say this to myself when I'm working, just to make sure that I am not doing a flat wrap with a twist or anything crazy or different. I really want to make sure that I'm maintaining that flat wrap around the barrel. Those classic curls are what is really going to make this style. All right, so that one went up. This one is going to go down. Okay, so we are flat wrapping around the base. Just going to slide that up. Awesome. And then once that's hot enough, I'll just do the ends real quick. They don't need as much time on the barrel because they are a little bit finer, so we don't have to worry about them too much. We don't want to burn them. All right, taking our next section, a little bit of the shield. That heat protectant is going to be so important. Again, it protects up to 450 degrees, and I'm only using 360, but a little bit of heat protectant is perfect. Okay, so this one went toward me. So on this side, I'm going to have it go away from me, okay? So starting at the base, flat wrapping around. You're going to be sick of the word flat wrap by the time I'm done. We are almost there. I'll say it one more time. All right, and just getting those ends and then pulling it off, okay? Now it's probably hard to see. I'm in front of a window, so once we get going, it'll probably be a little easier. Okay, so that one went away from me. This one's gonna go toward me. All right, and one last time, we are flat wrapping this around the barrel. All right. And again, waiting for that to cool just a minute, and then getting those ends. And then there you have it. That is how we are going to curl all of the sections for our style. All right. So what we're going to do now is tighten her a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of Fluxus and just give her a little bit of a spray. And Fluxus is our touchable hairspray, so it's going to give us a lot of flexibility. Okay, so from here, we can go ahead and just controlled rake this back. So what I mean by controlled rake is I'm not going to brush it back. I'm not going in there and getting crazy with it. We're really just kind of raking through, following with our other hand. Okay, so we're getting some more organic looking curls from this. You see the difference? So this is a controlled rake, so I'm not going in here and getting all crazy, making it all wild. I'm just really getting some of that organic look, okay? We'll do the same here. So pulling this back. Okay. Controlled, raking it. So when I rake back using one hand and then I use the other hand to hold everything down, make sure that it all looks nice and neat. All right, perfect. So she's not finished quite yet. What we're gonna do is backcomb for foundation. So what I mean by that is we need a place for all of this hair to come back and hold on to. So underneath in the nape, I'm going to section off an inch section, and we're going to backcomb a foundation, and that's where our pins will sit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of split this. And I don't want to disturb this curl pattern too much, but I do want to make sure that it's out of my way. So we can go ahead and clip that up. Over here, same thing. We have about a 1-inch section there on the bottom, and that's where we are going to backcomb for foundation. So just make sure we're, okay, cool. Looking good. So here I'm going to take, I like to use a finer tooth comb for this. You can use something with wider teeth, but the finer teeth are going to give you that better back comb. So from here, you kind of come down to your level. We are going to just create, actually I might split this up, and just back comb just like that. And as you'll see, it's starting to create a little bit of a cushion there, and that's where those pins are going to sit. So give it a couple good teases. Now, on the side, you can start to see where that back comb is showing up. I just want to take, then I'm going to take my wide teeth and just kind of brush that out a little bit, okay? So that when you see it from the side, you're not seeing all of those little back combed pieces. That looks still nice and smooth, okay? So then again, using our fine teeth, going to back comb for foundation. Just little bursts, okay? And then taking your wide teeth and combing that side out so that on both sides it's nice and neat, okay? So now we have this nice little cushion here, and that's where all of our pins are gonna go so that they don't slip out. Sound good? All right. I'm gonna go ahead and let these down. And this is where I'm going to take my fluxus, and I want all of this to kind of fall up a little bit. I don't want this to droop down over her ears and come back. The look that we're more so wanting to go for is to come up a little bit. It's going to look a little bit more polished. So taking my fluxus, again, this is our touchable hairspray, and it's really, really flexible. So if you spray it in the hair and then you decide you want to change something, it has so much forgiveness, but also enough hold that it's going to give you the control that you need. Okay, so just pushing that back. Okay, let me see how it's already starting to come back a little bit. Just gives us that nice little bit of hold to keep all of that right up. All right. Perfect. I'll go around and do the other side. Okay. Now I want to do my sides and then the middle. So what's going to happen is this is all going to get pulled back, and we'll have 3 little buns that sit here, here, and here. So I like to start with one side or the other and then do the middle last. Okay, so let's start on this side. So pushing her back, and I'm going to use long hairpins to do this. Okay, so these are, actually that was a short one. These are the long ones. Cool, so can you guys see that? So what I'm gonna do is kind of section this into 3. And again, we want these to be super organic sections. So there's 1, there's 2, okay, and here's 3. And I want to just check them for density. So this one, and this one. I feel like the middle is a little bit lighter. So cool. I'm going to go ahead and clip that away. Then I'm going to clip the middle away. And we're just working with this side piece. Okay. So pulling that back, and I want to check it from the front. So I want to look and see where these are falling. So I can even pull this up a little bit and adjust where that is falling. Okay. So taking this section, and we're going to start to twist. I want these to come up, so I'm going to twist them up into there like that. Right? Now, I want to secure this first twist. So I'm going to take my large hairpin. I'm going to close it so the 2 ends touch. And I'm going to push it into here, and then we'll go ahead and weave it down in, okay? Now we'll go ahead and keep twisting this around. So when we weave that pin in, what that is going to do is keep it from falling out. So we're really getting a lot of security when we weave the pin. So again, taking our pin, closing it, inserting it, then we open it once it's inside and weave, okay? So I'm going to keep twisting these. I want to make sure they're all twisting in the right direction. And starting to create that little bun. Cool, so go ahead and close that. Stick it right in there. Open it, and then start to weave. Cool. Now, as I start getting to these end pieces, I'm going to switch and use a smaller pin, all right? So twisting this around. I want all of these ends to come around the outside. I don't want to stick them onto the inside. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we want to make sure that these ends are coming around the outside, because if you stick them on the inside, they're going to get a little funky, okay? So go ahead and close our pin. And I'm going to come into the back, grab onto that foundation that we created, come forward and weave it in. All right. So you can kind of see that bun starting to form, and then we can see all this beautiful texture on the side. And at the end, we'll go through and place any of these pieces that we want differently. But for now, she's looking gorgeous. All right. So I'm going to just do one more pin there in the back. So I want to come into the back on the outside, come forward, weave that in. Awesome. And then she's nice and secure. Cool. So we'll go ahead and start on the other side. So I have our middle section here, and I just want to get that out of our way. So go ahead and, again, these are super organic, so don't worry about your perfect sections. It's all going to come together in the end and be so gorgeous. Okay, so looking from the front, all of this is going to be a part of that second section, and then this will be a part of the middle. So I just want to make sure it's not too much. Looking good. Okay. I'm going to adjust this actually just a little bit and pull it down. Awesome. Okay, so all of this is going to come back. And just controlled raking this back, making sure it's really nice and soft. Okay, and all right, and I'm going to start twisting this back. Okay, so this is getting twisted to the back. And once we get that first twist in there, we want to secure. So again, taking our hairpin, closing it, coming into the back, pushing forward, opening, and weaving that in. Okay, so that weave, if it's weaving in, it has to weave out. So if you're just sticking it right in, it can come right out. But if you weave it in, you're getting a lot more security. Okay, so that's why we weave our pins. And you can kind of see, I don't know if you guys can see here, but you're starting to see a little bit of that backcomb. So all I'm gonna do, super easy fix, is just hold on to where that pin was and just comb that out right there. Okay, easy peasy, super easy fix. And then we'll go ahead and continue our twist. Okay, so we want both sides to twist toward the back, so they're twisting into each other. So this side is coming this way, right? And taking our hairpin. Every time we put a hairpin into the style, we want to make sure that we're going into a crevice. I don't want to just kind of jam it in there wherever, because we're going to get funky little pieces. If you go ahead in to where there is, like the hair is going this way, so I can stick it in that side, then come forward, weave, right? And it's going to look a lot more natural. So instead of we're just not like poking them in it anywhere. All right, again, all of these ends are going to come around the outside. So all of these pieces are wrapping around the outside. All right, closing my pin, and pull this back, weaving. Okay. Coming around that side. So looking from the back, I want to make sure that my two buns are even. So this one's sitting a little bit higher, so I just want to make sure I'm adjusting the style at all times. Or sorry, not adjusting, but assessing the style at all times to make sure that everything is looking cohesive and going in the right direction. So I'm actually going to use a smaller size pin now for some of these little adjustments. So now we just have a little pin like that. And I want this bun to sit a little bit higher, so I'm going to push it up, come in, and weave it in. All right. Now they're starting to look a little bit more even. Perfect. Cool. So now we are on to our last section. And I want to give it a look from the front, the sides, the back. Okay, so this is what the front looks like right now. So we obviously want to make sure that we're pulling these pieces back and laying them in a way that is symmetrical and stunning. All right. So pulling these pieces back. I'm going to gather all of this hair and let me show you from the back. So I'm gathering all of this hair. We have our two buns on either side and all of this coming right back, and it's going to sit right there in the middle of those two buns, okay? But looking at the front as we go, looking good. Perfect. Now, like I said, those two side buns, you want to come away from the face, but this middle bun, it doesn't matter which way it goes. So I'm going to twist her to the right. Okay. Now I'm going to take my large pin and secure that first twist. So closing, coming in, twisting down into that foundation, All right, I gotta come back down to your level. Cool. And we'll just keep twisting that around. So smoothing these ends as we go. Make sure that everything is nice and cohesive. Not so cohesive that it's looking like polished per se, but we want to make sure that it's not getting crazy out of hand. There's a very fine balance there. All right. Now coming back, like I said, coming into a crevice, so I'm not going to just like stick it in anywhere I want. I'm going to come behind this curl here. Then I can grab some of my foundation, come forward, grab that twist, and then weave in. See how that gives so much security? It's phenomenal. All right. Tucking these in where they may go. And I'm going to use a smaller pin to secure some of these smaller pieces. All right. So that middle one is secure. Do we see how this side is falling just a little bit? Super easy fix. All I'm going to do is take a small pin, grab it up here, and kind of weave that in. So I'll show you that. Okay, so this is like that. And weave that in. Perfect, and that just brought it up just enough. Cool? So now we have these little fun guys, and those are cute. If you want to leave them out, you totally can, but I'm going to show you a little trick to hide them if you don't want to see them, if you want them to be a little bit more up. So what I'm going to do is take that little piece, take my pin, slide it in there, and I'm just going to twist my pin. Okay, come up and weave. And there you go. Now it's hidden. All right, so we have maybe this guy I might want to tuck up a little bit. I'm gonna in there and weave. Cool. And there she is. So now we can kind of look from the front and decide which pieces we want to adjust from there. So if we want this to be fuller, we can leave it as is. If we want any of these pieces to be kind of tucked back a little bit, so maybe this I might want to tuck into there. So what I'm going to do is take my pin. This is just a small pin. Okay, I'm just pulling this back to where I want it, coming up like this, and twisting that in. Cool, so we have a little bit more security just right there. And we can go through and do that to any of these pieces where we feel like maybe it's a little bit too much volume, or if you want to pull some of these out and give it more volume, you can do that too. So there is our twisted chignon. I'm actually going to pop one more up in here as well. And that's all. Does anyone have any questions? So again, coming in there and twisting that in. And you see how that just secured everything right in? Perfect. Cool. Does anyone have any questions? What is my go-to Amica product? Oh my gosh, I love Perk Up Dry Shampoo. It is my absolute favorite because I can use it for second day hair, third, fourth, fifth day hair, but I can also use it to add a ton of texture. It doesn't have rice starch in it, so you don't get any of that white funkiness, so I love it. And then, of course, for styling, we love Fluxus because it gives us a ton of flexibility, but I also really love Headstrong Hairspray because it's going to give us a lot more hold, but it's still so forgivable. So I've used Headstrong Hairspray, like sprayed in a style, and then had someone say like, oh, we actually wanted this or this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to change it, but I can just brush it right out and not going to get any flakiness. It's awesome. Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. I think that's all. What's my fave Amica tool? Oh my gosh, I love the hair blow dry brush. That's one of our newest. It's so easy. I have pretty fine hair, but even with my clients who have a ton of hair, I love it because it's so easy. I think it's really ergonomically friendly. So it's great on your wrist. You're not using a blow dryer and a brush. You're just using the one tool. So you can kind of like alternate, which is great. And it really speeds up blow dry time. I also love the Le Marcel. I use a Marcel almost exclusively when I'm doing fun beachy waves in the salon, but then also on myself. So I really love that one. Any other questions? I will say too, the Chameleon, if you are doing bridal styles, a lot of bridal styling, weddings, even like any group situation, it's great because as you saw, I'm able to change the barrels on it without burning myself or having to wait for it to cool down. I can do it while it's still hot. So like this guy's still hot, but I can just pop it right off and then set it down and then put any of the other barrels on it. And it's cool because there are a couple that are not tapered. So this is like the big boy, and it's not tapered. And then there are a couple that are tapered. So you can see they go from larger to smaller. And they're so great because if you're doing a bunch of different styles, you really get a ton of versatility in one toolkit. And if you are like me, and you want to use it, you have a little glove. So that's really helpful too. And this carry case is heat safe. So we love a heat safe carry case when we are trying to leave after doing a wedding or whatever, wherever we're at. Cool. Any other questions? How would you approach this look on finer hair? So one way that I would approach this look on finer hair, of course, our lovely model Rachel has a ton of hair. So someone who has finer hair, I'm probably going to incorporate some more products. So a product that I love and hold near and dear to my heart is Undone Texture Spray. And it's really great because it's going to give you a lot more volume throughout. So she doesn't need added volume or added texture, but adding some texture spray like Undone or Got Grit. Got Grit is a dry texture paste. And I love Got Grit because it acts as a little bit of a dry shampoo. So it's going to soak up any of those unnecessary like dirts and oils. But it also is going to add a ton of texture and lift. So I can rub that through my hands, pull that through the hair after curling, and it's going to give it so much body, and it's super gorgeous. So that's how I would approach this look on finer hair. And I have finer hair too. So I usually, when I'm not wearing my hat, I am loading myself up with texture products. Tasha said, thank you. Oh, thank you guys for being here. It was such a pleasure. I had so much fun teaching this style to you. Hopefully we can see each other soon and learn some more styles together. Until then, I am Hailee, otherwise known as Hailee K Hair. Feel free to connect with me, ask me all the questions. I am always available as your Amica resource. All right, thanks guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.